Hi friends, I've decided to make a video of my repair of the yellow Piper Cub balsa airplane. This was a kit that I built over the COVID winter of 2020. As you can see, it's missing the nose. It has broken off 3 times now. The first time it broke off was about 5 minutes into a flight. I was coming in for a landing. It was a little bit high. Decided to go around again. I was up about 15 feet. Started turning left, and suddenly I had no power, and it crashed to the ground and broke the nose. Wasn't terrible. Wing was intact. Fuselage was intact. So I went ahead and did re-glue, little popsicle stick and everything else, and flew it several times. I've had a total of 8 flights with this airplane. It was originally designed for glow fuel. I think it was a 0.215 motor, but I decided to convert it to electric, being that that is the way to go these days. Much quieter, much simpler, easier to do. So about 4 or 5 days ago, I was flying again. Not quite coming in for a landing, but was making a similar turn around my fly field, up about 20 feet, and had a sudden loss of power, and it crashed, and it broke the nose off again. So that would be the second crash. And again, the wing was intact, fuselage intact. So with what little was left to glue to, using popsicle sticks and other pieces of small plywood, I put the nose back on it. I since flew it once, very successfully, no trouble. I actually made a video of that flight. And just the other day, I took it back up, and I flew about 6 seconds. It was about 40, maybe 50 feet off the ground, climbing up, and it went berserk. It just started going all over the place. I immediately cut the power, mistake. I then slammed the power back on and tried to pull out of it, but by then it was heading into a power line. And it hit the power line head on with the nose and sheared the nose completely off. And I was almost thinking I wouldn't repair it, but I then decided to, what the heck, go ahead. So I trimmed off all of the busted wood here. I've removed the coat covering from the sides. My intention is to rebuild firewall cowling. It sits about 63 millimeters away from the existing fuselage frame, and put that back together. And instead of covering it with balsa and then monocoat, I think I'm just going to use foam board. I've made a lot of flight test foam airplanes. It's fun to work with. It's easy to work with. Hot glue. Here's the Cobra motor that originally attached to the firewall before the last wreck, and came apart. Very spectacular crash. It hit a power line, amazingly, head on. Did not damage the wing whatsoever. I was quite surprised. Fell to the ground, and here we are. So over the next several days, I'll videotape progress, and we'll let you know how it goes. Thanks for watching. And I do hope to post some pictures along with this to show the results of the original build, and then the subsequent crash sites. So, okay, so I've spent a couple hours reattaching the motor mount firewall to the original chassis. We had to make some tenons in here to slip through the plywood fuselage attachment point. These are hardwood motor mounts, and then I used hardwood supporting struts, if you will, where previously it had been balsa along the sides. The only hardwood in the original was the motor mounts coming through. But because I'm not going to use balsa as a skin, I'm probably just going to use foam board over here and attach it back along the side. I wanted to put a little extra hardwood in there to give it some strength. Okay, so it's pretty beat up after 3 wrecks and a couple of crashes, but the nose cone, cowling I guess you call it, just sort of slips back on here. Tight fit. We'll put a couple 3 screws in it, and there we go. We'll have this flying here probably in a few days. Put the motor back in. We'll skin it. Probably put a windshield back on here. That got pretty cracked up in the last crash. But yeah, coming along pretty nice. Okay, so we've made a little progress. We've mounted the motor. We've established a slight down angle and a camber to the right side of the aircraft. Not sure how that's showing up in the picture, but because of torque of the motor, you want to counteract that by pointing your motor to the right and down. So there you have it. On top of the motor mount screws, I put a little Elmer's glue to act as a Loctite. Rather than using Loctite, Elmer's glue works real well and is easy to remove later. Loctite can be a little tough, even the blue, which is softer than the red. So remaining to do now is to take the cowling and set it in here and find the screws and mount it up, something like that. And then we will make the skin out of some foam board, bring it down the sides, and this bad boy should be ready to fly in maybe tomorrow if the weather's good. Camera up. So this morning we're here at the flying field where I've flown many times, many airplanes, many radios, to try to understand why my Piper Yellow Cub keeps crashing. I've had 3 flights that just dropped out of the sky. Behind me is the scoreboard, where on 2 separate occasions, as I was flying up and out to the left, sudden loss of power, crash, destroyed. And behind me here, just a couple days ago, I took off to the south with the Yellow Cub after a successful flight the day before. And as I was just about 50 feet off the ground, 25 feet left of those power lines back there, it went berserk, started flying all over the place. I don't know what's going on. I thought originally the problem was heat. So I made some modifications, added some cooling holes. So this morning I've harvested the radio out of the Yellow Piper Cub and I put it into the famous flight test Piper Cub. And we're gonna fly it and see if there's any problems. If it's no problems, then it's gotta be the speed controller. It's a nice, I can't remember the brand now, but it's a 45 amp speed controller in Yellow Cubs. So anyway, hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it, because airplanes falling out of the sky inexplicably is no fun. Stay tuned. Here we go with the foam version of the Piper to see if we have a radio problem. We'll take off to the north this morning.
Launch mode.
Launch mode puts a 10-degree up angle. Hey guys, back to finish up the repair of the Yellow Piper Club airplane. But before I do that, I'll tell you that I'm talking to you on my iPhone today. My Insta360 camera, which I've had less than a week, has gone missing. My own fault, rookie maneuver. Last night about 7:30, 7:45, I decided to take the glider up for a fly. I've already posted a video of that glider with the camera mounted pretty much over the wing. So using this old Scout as an example, I've made a mock-up of what the Insta360 camera looked like. On the first flight of the glider, I actually put the camera right here facing forward. I don't know if we can see that. There we go. Okay. But last night I got this great idea to mount it to the very back of the tail. I've got a little glue here just to stick it on there. And so it's right back here. Okay. There we go. And of course on a glider, this distance is real long. So we have a long fulcrum. And because the glider has a big, what I call a tractor motor on it, it's designed to pull that glider up high and fast and get it up high. I actually built into the launching program a little bit of a down elevator, because without it, it climbs too steeply and wants to stall out. So when I launch my glider, I've got a little bit of down elevator. Okay, so I'm taking off. I'm doing really good. It's flying well. Camera's looking forward. Wanted to get a whole profile of the glider going up. And I'm flying, maybe 3/4 of a mile away and up towards some cliffs above our golf course here, above my flying field. And just as I got it about where I liked, I killed the motor. Folding prop folds forward. And all of a sudden, the airplane went into a straight up nose attitude, fell back down, and repeated this oscillation porpoising. And I never could get control of it. And I gave it some motor power, but by now I had removed my my takeoff assist, which adds a little down elevator. Of course, I'm panicking, so I'm doing everything I can to get control of the aircraft, and I can't. Long story short, it flew probably a mile or mile and a half away from me, and gone. Just before it went out of sight, I shut the power off, which should have put it into a left-hand turn, gentle glide. But with this camera right here, essentially acting like a whole lot of up elevator is what I concluded. After I replayed this in my mind several times, this little camera is acting like a big up elevator on a long fulcrum, because we're talking about probably almost 1.5 meters from the wing to the back of where the camera was mounted. So that sounds like a battery beeping. Let me pause for just a second. Okay, battery was fully charged and it starts beeping to tell you that. So okay, so anyway, glider airplane has a 2-meter wingspan and probably 1.5 meters between the center of gravity and the tail section. So by putting the little camera right where I did, I created a large up elevator, and now it's gone. Have my phone number on it, and hopefully it will fall out of a tree someday on somebody's front yard, and they'll call me and I can come get it. So back to the Yellow Cub. I flew today 9 minutes, flew excellent. The rebuild is complete. I got this nice sticker from a friend of mine. It's kind of cool looking, so I thought it would look good on the side of a Yellow Piper Cub that has now been repaired with white foam. Everything's good. Motor makes a little bit of a vibration from that last crash. The last 3/8 inch of the prop shaft are bent. The propeller shaft to the motor is okay, but that's enough to give it a bit of a vibration at high speed. So it makes noise, but it's flyable. So there we are. Everything is real good. I'm looking forward to getting this guy out again, and hopefully I don't have to do any more Piper Cub repair video. This guy should just last and last and last, and hopefully get many hundred more flights out of it. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.